When we were looking for a video system to live stream our church services, we wanted a 2-camera system. We didn't want a complicated system. We didn't really have the budget to buy a $5,000 system with computers and monitors, and we didn't really even have the volunteers necessarily to run, 2 or 3 people team. We wanted to just down and dirty, just be able to do services with 2 cameras so we can take an overall shot, and then while that camera's set up, then be prepared to zoom in on the next shot and so forth, so the transitions are smooth. So we bought YoloBox. It's pretty nice. It's a self-contained system. There's no extra monitor. This is the entire little thing, and we can switch from whatever video feed that we want. This little box here is $1,200. It can do Wi-Fi as well as Ethernet. And then the cameras. Our budget was somewhat limited. Afterwards, we found that we could buy them a little bit cheaper. These are $250 each. The cameras. They're Canon Vixia HR800s. The only complaint is sometimes I wish that the lighting was a little bit better, but we found some settings and tweaked them and improved them quite a bit. From where we film all the way up to the front of our church, it's almost 80 feet. So we needed to have cameras that had some big zoom. So these cameras can go up to 50 zoom. I think we're about 27 zoom power is what we end up using. That's what we did. So I'm going to give you a little tour, and maybe you can learn through some of the stuff that we went through and avoid some of the extra hard knocks that we did. Thank you. I've got 2 cameras. This is into the HDMI 1 cable. This one is in the HDMI 2 cable. This can be your Ethernet. It also has Wi-Fi, and this is your power cord. We are, from our sound system, we just simply did a cable, so 3.5 millimeter from our sound system over here. One thing that we did have to do is we were having some problems. The sound quality wasn't very good, and because we needed a stereo to mono, so this little adapter here, $2 or whatever, and that really saved the day. So now when we output, the quality is good. We went to a local audio place called Audio Tech, and they made us a 25-foot cable. I want to switch from cameras. So if I want to go to the overall camera, which is number 2 here, I can hit number 2 and go back to that. If I want to go back to the close-up on 1, I'm going to hit that. You can also do a picture-in-picture. So it's going to ask you what you want to be the main picture. So I'll say I want that to be the main picture, and then hit continue. Then it says what I want to be the sub picture. I'll hit that. I'll hit apply. And what's kind of nice is I can just move this around wherever I want that to be in the overall picture. So I want to see what that looks like. It's a little difficult to see in the screen here, but I have this picture inside of there. Some other settings on here, kind of nice. You can hit watermark. So typically what we'll do before our services, I have a little thing that goes across the screen that says service will start at 10:15, because I started a little bit sooner to make sure everything's working fine, and if somebody wants to watch it, they can. Regardless of whatever video camera that you're going to use, you do need to do a white balance. On this particular camera, I'll show you how I do it on this one. Your camera may be different, so we're going to hit the little, looks like camera, go up here, and you're going to hit white balance, and then you need to get a white piece of good large type thing, put it out there close to to where we're filming, and we do a white balance. It's pretty straightforward. We'll do an auto white balance. I would need to have that white sheet in front of me, so I'm not going to do that right now because I don't have that. So that's okay. So let's start up a session, live streaming. So we're going to come over here. We're going to hit plus, give it the name of it. So we'll call it test right now. A lot of times we'll put maybe the date for our service or whatever. Then we'll hit OK. Then we hit create. So then we go over here and we continue. One thing that basically this is your controls here that we had a hard time figuring out was over here was the audio part here, where we want our audio to come in. So this is coming in to their HDMI cable. So I'm going to put that to HDMI 1. There is an audio input jack for this system. I believe though it needs an amplified adapter or input, and so ours doesn't have it. This works fine, and so it just is pulling it off of that HDMI 1 camera. So the next thing you do is you come over here and you're going to set up where we're going to get our Facebook. So I'm just using my account, and so it's going to hit what group, or I'm sorry, what homepage, and so I do our church, and I hit OK. And we're basically ready to go. And so if I wanted to go live with this, I could choose what camera I want and so forth. And then when I'm actually ready to do it, I'm gonna hit right here. It's gonna spin up to Facebook. Of course, this is gonna be live here in a minute, and it's probably gonna annoy people at home. What's Trent doing at church? So I'm gonna go ahead and stop it. I'm not going to bother, well, we already had started. So that's basically all there is to it. So a quick review. We come over here, we start what our session is, we create it, we continue it. Need to make sure that your audio, and you have to reset this each time. It seems like the default just goes to automatic, where it's looking for a sound on that. We want it to be just for our input from our audio system. And then, get your shot that you want, come over here, choose what you want on your, after you've authenticated, you will have to authenticate in with your credentials for Facebook. Hit our homepage, hit that, hit OK. And now I am ready to start. So I'm just gonna hit this. It's gonna spin up. And if I also want to record to an SD card, I can hit here, and it's going to start recording it there. So sometimes we'll do that kind of as a backup as well. We are live. I'm going to hit cancel, and again, drive everybody crazy. What were all those Facebook starts and stops? Cameras, they may not apply for you, but if you decide to use cameras that we have, you want to be able to, when in a more dimly lit indoor setting, you want to have the smallest frame per second that you can. 60 frames per second is great when you're outside and you're doing something that's fast and you want to catch it. You don't want it to be jerky video. But the slower that frame rate is, more light can enter into the camera per each second. So on ours, we put our frame rate down to 17 frames per second. That was the lowest setting that we could do. And it made a big difference in how dark, or actually not dark, our video was. Because when we set it for 30 and 60 frames per minute, it was really pretty dark. So that was a tip that maybe that would help you. If your video is coming out a little bit dark, don't make a really fast frames per second. So to change the frames per second, you're gonna go hit the little home key, you go to video quality, you're gonna touch that. I'm setting mine at 17 megabits per second. As soon as I touch that, and hit here now I can change that to 24 or to 30. At 24 frames per second, it's a lot better quality. That it's not as dark here in this church, since this church is a little bit dark. We had to figure out how to turn off on our output of our video here. We were seeing all the controls on our camera. Well, we don't want to video that and live stream that, so we need to turn those things off. That off, we just a little home screen here, slide this over to the other settings, and we touch that. We want the little menu one in the middle there, and then we want the output on-screen displays. We want that off. Out of the box, they're on. So we're gonna hit that, you're gonna hit okay. And so now, I don't have that on my screen anymore. So that another, I don't know, quirk that we found on these cameras, that you have to have an SD card plugged into them. And it's kind of, seems kind of strange because we're not actually filming to the camera itself. We're outputting to the YoloBox on live streaming. But if you don't have this card in, what will happen is the camera says, oh, I can't record, and it goes into like a demo mode. So that's really great. You're setting, you're getting ready to live stream, and it's gonna go into this crazy demo mode because it doesn't have an SD card. So if I was looking at buying one of these cameras, don't buy the packages for, at least for us. They came with a horribly worse tripods than what these are. A little case, which we could care less about, a whole bunch of stuff that we didn't need, but you are gonna need an SD card. We didn't really need even the extra battery backup because we're always plugged in. Only used our YoloBox and our cameras plugged in and so forth, but this is self-contained. I can pull the power off of this. If you've got Wi-Fi, and you can go to, you can use Wi-Fi, you can use cellular. They make a cellular card for this, and so forth. So it is self-contained. You have battery backup on your cameras, and you can go wherever you want. Possibly when we do maybe Easter egg hunts and so forth, it might be fun to do some stuff like that. But right now, we haven't done that, but it can do it. Now you can actually stream to Facebook and to YouTube and Twitter or whatever it is that you possibly would want to do, to different things at the same time. Candidly, all we've ever done was to stream to Facebook. I do sometimes use the SD card. I'll record those. Sometimes I might do some editing and throw it up on YouTube after the fact. What this system is, it's very easy to use, relatively inexpensive, for less than $2,000 for a dual camera system. What this is not a $10,000 video production system. So yes, there's going to be some things that might be able to do. You might be able to output in various resolutions at the same time and so on and so forth. That's not what this is. This is just a really good thing for streaming. Again, what really attracted us to this is that we can have volunteers quickly train them how to use it. When we're done, we go home and we're done. We don't have to do a lot of post-video production or setup. So hopefully you found this interesting and maybe it'll work for your application.